And we're back.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian. And we're...
The Horror Guys.
The Horror Guys. You were expecting us to say Horror Bulletin, didn't you?
Not anymore. We've evolved.
Yeah, if that sounds different, it's just because we love to change things.
We do.
So this week, we're same old show, nothing different there. But instead of horrorbulletin.com, we are now going with horrorguys.com.
Because we don't really talk about bulletins on our podcast anymore. News.
Just seemed like a better name.
Yeah, the news is on the Facebook and the Twitter. And
so check out horrorguys.com. Twitter, we're going to keep Horror Bulletin for now.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many other Horror Guys out there. And our Facebook page is changing also. It's Horror Guys Podcast at Facebook.
Uh-huh.
So horrorguys.com's got everything. The page looks great. Check it out. It's all been redesigned and looks good.
He did that.
I did
Good
that.
work. Good work. Yeah.
And, okay, if you're just tuning in, you missed a week somewhere in there, we do want to remind you that horror news will now come regularly on our Twitter feed and Facebook page instead of in the podcast. We're just going to be discussing movie and TV and shorts and the review side of things. We're not going to be giving you news.
We might have some spoilers.
We will have some spoilers.
Likely. So you're warned, if you want to go into these things fresh and untainted, you should watch them first.
Yeah, we're going to tell you in a minute what we're going to review this time, and if you haven't seen them, rush right out, see those, come back, and see what you think. Are we crazy? Are we loving stupid movies? Are we hating the good movies?
Some of each.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Email us. Reply on Facebook. Reply on YouTube. Or just
send us a carrier pigeon.
An exploding one.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So this week, we're going to cover the Universal Studios movie Dracula's Daughter from 1936.
Mm-hmm.
Each week we've been covering one of the original Universal horror movies, and we're, a third to a half of the way through the list right now. Long way to go.
A third. Quarter. Quarterly quarter. There's a lot of them.
It's Dracula's Daughter.
Yeah.
Followed by the contemporary classic 13 Sins from 2014. The short film Sulfuric. The very new horror movie Trench 11 from 2017. And our international feature, The Rift, from 2016. I'll tell you right now, some of them are really good. Some of them are just kind of horrible. And not in a good way. Well, that's a lot of movie talk. So here we go.
So, we saw Dracula's Daughter from
We did.
1936.
We did.
Still black and white. They hadn't invented color yet.
Nope.
Had a soundtrack. What a stylish movie. The suits and the furs and the sets, and it was really they had
very formal.
They had a big budget. It was at $278,000. It was one of Universal's most expensive productions of the 1930s.
Yeah, it was.
They spent lavishly on it, and it showed. Yeah, very stylish, very good looking, good quality print we had.
Yeah, it was very sharp.
Yeah.
Okay, 1936, directed by Lambert Hillier, written by Garrett Fort, and stars Otto Kruger, Gloria Holden, and Marguerite Churchill. 1 hour, 11 minutes.
Meant to be a James Whale production originally, and that didn't work out.
They couldn't offer him enough woo for this one.
Yeah, he had an over-the-top idea for the script, I guess, that they didn't like, and
Do we know what the story was?
He wouldn't change enough,
or we don't know.
We don't really know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would have been expensive from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Well, this one takes up right where Dracula ended. We start out as two policemen find Renfield's body at the bottom of the staircase. His neck has been broken. Dr. Van Helsing walks up to the cops.
Von Helsing. For some reason, inexplicably, and there's no explanation that is known that we could find, he is Von Helsing.
And they say Von a couple of times.
Von. He's listed as Von in the credits.
It's the same actor.
Yeah.
It's the same character.
Von Helsing.
The same guy. But in the first movie, he was Van Helsing. Now he's Von Helsing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, don't know.
So anyway, this guy with a new name walks up to the cops and tells I wonder if it's a copyright thing somehow.
It seems like they would have known that, though, and said that. Yeah.
So he goes to the cops and tells them that the murderer's body is in the next room. It's Dracula, and he's dead.
And I did it, and I have no regrets. He openly admits that he...
They arrest Van Helsing.
Yeah.
And he tells the story to the cops, which is a nice recap of the first movie. It had been 5 years. Maybe not everybody remembers Dracula. It's not quite as well known as it is today. So Van Helsing says he wants Dr. Garth, a psychiatrist, to defend him in court, as he's the only one who might understand his side of the story.
Goth, I believe. Jeffrey Goth.
It's spelled Garth.
Oh, it's spelled Garth.
Yeah,
okay.
is.
Okay.
Maybe that's
My
why
bad.
they're saying
My
it.
mistake.
They're all British.
Ah, yes.
Dr. Goth.
Goth.
Yes.
Oh, yes, without the hard R.
You
Yes.
go to the bar and talk to Dr. Goth.
Goth.
Yes.
Yes.
The policeman at the police station... Oh, well, we're going to get into British talk later on.
yeah, a little bit.
The policemen at the police station hear a strange noise in the room where the corpses are stored. When one officer is left alone, a strange woman enters. I didn't mention this part in my review, but the cop looks in the window, and there's this thing digging under the dirt in the room where Dracula's body is. He says, it's a rat, and he's afraid to go in.
And it doesn't have anything to do with the plot or anything later or anything.
It was an interesting effect, but there was
why?
no point for it.
Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah.
So this strange woman comes in, and she uses her ring to hypnotize the policeman.
Her face is mostly covered, and yeah, she's
Veiled,
very
yes.
mysterious looking, beautiful.
The other cops return to find Dracula's body is missing, and the other policeman is either dead or hypnotized very strongly.
He's just under really deeply. He wasn't dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, elsewhere, the Countess Marya Zaleska burns Dracula's body in a fire. Free forever, she exclaims.
Yeah, and she incites a spell and does some various mumbo jumbo.
Some kind of dark prayer.
Like she's free at last, free of the dark forces.
She wants to live life as a normal woman. So she starts going to all the big London social parties.
Trying to blend in.
That's what you do if you're a countess in those
But
days.
only at night.
Yeah.
Because she sleeps during the day.
Yeah, you know why. So she meets up with Dr. Garth at one of the parties. Somehow the conversations turn to vampires, and he says he thinks a vampire is simply a person with a mental condition that can be cured.
And she latches onto that.
She's
really,
very
Doctor, you think that? Yes.
She sees this as maybe a potential cure. Maybe he can fix her up.
Yeah.
And when they're there, Garth notices that her home doesn't have any mirrors. She's not vain at all. She gets Sandor, her servant, to bring in a girl, Lily, to pose for a painting. She tells the girl to take her shirt off and looks at her hungrily.
Yeah, it's more than a hint of lesbianism in that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, they knew it at the time, too. It wasn't just a coincidence.
Yeah.
She uses her ring to hypnotize Lily and bites her off camera. The camera turns away, and we get the impression that she's been bitten.
Yeah, the Countess is closing in hungrily. And then
Probably off camera for the same reason Dracula didn't bite Van Helsing on camera,
right,
I would assume.
Yeah, wouldn't have made it past the censors.
Garth sees Lily in the hospital the next day, and she has anemia and amnesia. That's a good combination.
Well, and she's kind of comatose. She's so deeply hypnotized that she's not really awake. And fortunately, Garth is also an expert in hypnotism, and he can wake her up. And, well, that doesn't work because he breaks the spell or whatever it is, and she dies from a violent seizure.
Hypnotized to death.
Yeah.
Since Garth has been talking to Van Helsing, Garth notices the bites and starts to think, hey, maybe it is a vampire.
Well, and they think, and they're like, was Dracula not dead? And Van Helsing's like, no, God, he was dead.
The stake will do it.
Yeah, but Dracula bit other people, and maybe it's another vampire.
Copycat
There's
killer.
just speculation at this point.
When Van Helsing reminds Garth about a vampire not having any mirrors in their home...
Do you know anybody who doesn't have mirrors in their home? Who only comes out at night?
And he does.
He puts it together quickly.
Well, she wants Garth to go with her to the continent, but she won't share her secret with him. Garth figures it all out anyway and calls the police. He confronts the Countess, and she admits that she is Dracula's daughter. Then she leaves town, escaping on a black plane with no lights. Garth follows her, and the police follow him.
To Transylvania.
We cut to Transylvania, where the villagers are all happy and dancing.
Party, and then they notice there's lights on at Dracula's castle.
And they're not so happy anymore.
And they all run inside and slam the shutters and lock the doors.
I'm thinking Dracula was not real popular in his hometown.
Yeah, not popular.
Meanwhile, the Countess has kidnapped Garth's assistant, Janet, to lure him there. She wants to turn Garth, but Sandor is getting jealous. She promised to turn him.
Sandor is the henchman.
Yes.
Is her all-purpose, vaguely Asian henchman. Who's
We're
being
back to
played by a white
Yellowface
guy.
again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still don't get it.
I don't either. Yeah.
If you want
it
Asians
it was
in
a
your
thing
movie,
at that
just hire
time, I
them.
guess. Yeah, more so at that time. Yeah.
It's twice as racist if you don't have the real actor.
Yeah.
You can
And
have
there
evil.
must have-
You can have evil Asians. There's nothing wrong with that.
There must have been capable Asian actors in Hollywood and California at that time. I don't get it.
We could look into this. Maybe
Yeah.
it's union rules or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we've been through that. Garth agrees to finally become a vampire. Before she can turn him, Sandor shoots her with an arrow. And then the police arrive and shoot Sandor. Janet then wakes up and recovers. The end.
That pretty much sums it up.
What'd you think?
Overall, I liked it a lot. I give it a thumbs up overall.
Thumbs up? Definitely. Yeah, it's good.
It wasn't my favorite of the Universal so far, but it was entertaining and had style, and yeah. And one point we kind of discussed, was she really a vampire?
Yeah, you
Because she
don't
never
see her bite anybody.
She's super hypnotic, but hypnotists are hypnotic, and she doesn't transform. She only sleeps at night, but, and she doesn't have the mirrors, but we never see her reflected in a mirror or not reflected in a mirror. And
we see no proof that she's a vampire.
she could actually just be, Dracula convinced her, or took her, under his wing. So
Well, there's plenty of people, crazy people right now that believe they are vampires.
I tend to think she was.
They pretend to the point of look too much.
I thought it was interesting how you
could go either way.
Yeah, and she thought, no, she could be cured of, her obsession. And so,
Maybe she was right.
Yeah, and one point Dracula died 500 years ago, and she died 100 years ago. So the implication is that either Dracula could sire a child as a vampire, and then that child grew up and then stopped aging, or
did he turn some young woman, or did he actually get someone pregnant? What you getting at?
I tend to think he saw this woman who was lovely, and I want you to be my daughter, and she said okay, and it was a beautiful relationship from there.
Good idea at the time.
Yeah.
Your account, you say?
Yeah. Well, in Sandor, there was a hint there too. At one point, she's playing piano music, and she's getting all emotional and reminiscing and everything. And Sandor, remember this was your cradle song.
Which maybe she was told that.
Maybe.
Doesn't it mean she experienced it?
But it kind of implied that she knew Sandor since he was an infant, and he looks older than she does. And so that was another kind of vagueness a little bit.
The actor who played Van Helsing came back for the sequel, but Bela Lugosi did not.
Yeah.
Gloria Holden, who played the Countess, is suitably creepy, but not particularly menacing or even all that interesting.
Yeah, a little bit tame. Yeah.
This somehow leaves her status open to interpretation. Is she really a vampire, or does she just have a mental illness?
Yeah.
We never actually see her bite anyone or do anything explicitly non-human.
Yeah, like Dracula transformed, and
we don't doubt
various
Dracula.
Things, and she maybe.
At one point, the Countess holds a cross in her hand. Well, Sandor, her human assistant, cringes away from it.
Yeah.
She's like, "Out, Dracula!"
When she's doing the cremation ceremony. Yeah.
That weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
And Sandor is another vaguely Asian character played by a white man.
And
we do get the good quote, "I never drink wine."
Yeah, at a party. Yeah, she's offered a glass. No, I never drink wine.
Unanswered questions. Is she actually Dracula's genetic daughter, or just a bloodsucker made by him? Is she actually even a vampire? And what was the rat thing that tunneled into the room where Dracula's body was stored? That never went anywhere.
And did Sandor see, because she told Sandor that she was going to make Dr. Garth her companion. She was going to give him the bite and have immortality. And Sandor's like, "You promised me I'd have immortality." And he, he has a snit, like she can't do more than one person or something, But, and then after when he shoots her. It's not. Did he miss or did he shoot her on purpose?
Oh, I think
out
he
of the
did
snip?
it on purpose.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that was an intentional.
He wasn't going to lose her to him, and shot.
Unless he's a really
shot
bad
her first.
shot.
It didn't seem like he would have been that bad.
Yeah, I don't think that was an accident.
So but that's the end of that.
Yeah.
Overall, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah, mid range of the Universal so far.
Mm-hmm. What else did we see?
We saw 13 Sins from 2014.
Mm-hmm. I liked that one a lot.
I did, yeah, I'd never heard of this one. This was a surprise for me.
Yeah.
Directed by Daniel Stamm, written by David Berkey, Daniel Stamm. Stars Mark Webber, Devin Gray, and Tom Bauer. And also Ron Perlman is in this.
In a small role,
and
but
the
he gets
movie
really
poster, he's top billing.
Prominent billing on the poster.
Hour and 32 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
This is based on, what was it, some other country, foreign thing that we have not seen?
Another one that we need to see, and I forget that it was 13 something, wasn't Sins?
Yeah, I don't know.
But
it's a remake.
It. Yeah. Oh, wait, I noted it here, 2006, 13 Beloved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Mm-mm.
Professor Solomon is receiving an award in Perth, Australia. He starts reciting dirty limericks during his acceptance speech. When the hostess tries to stop him, he cuts off her finger with a butter knife. It'll hurt more. The police shoot him dead when he reaches into his coat for the phone. Why would this distinguished old professor act like that? And then the credits roll.
Why, indeed.
Pre-credit sequence.
Yeah.
Now we're in New Orleans. Elliot gets fired from his job as an insurance salesman as he's too honest.
Deeply in debt.
And he's having a bad week. His father's being evicted, his pregnant girlfriend is not pleased, and his brother may have to be reinstitutionalized.
He's got a simple brother and a horribly racist a-hole of a father.
Black girlfriend and the racist father.
And they're all going to have to live in the same household. Yeah. What a week
for disaster.
Yeah. And he just lost his job. What a week.
And we see through various things that he really is kind of a wimp. He's afraid to drive at the speed limit. All the cars are passing.
No, that was the brother. The brother was afraid of going fast.
Yeah, he didn't want to annoy the brother, so he did it.
Yeah, the brother,
And he refused to skip through a deserted red light in the middle of nowhere, alone.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Well, he's sitting at this red light, afraid to cross. There's this fly buzzing around, bugging him, and he gets a phone call telling him he's a one-of-a-kind game show where he can win a fantastic cash prize.
Millions of dollars can be yours if you complete all 13 tasks.
And the man on the phone seems to know everything about his private financial situation.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy says, if you kill the fly that's bothering you right now, you'll win $1,000. Whack.
There's a security camera that they show. Yeah.
He kills the fly and then gets a text from the bank that the money has been deposited. You know, that's a thing from these movies. Do you get texts like that instantly when the money goes in your bank account? Because it doesn't work like that for me.
Might have been a special part of the game, though.
Maybe.
Well, they could make his ringtone change. Yeah, that's not a real. That's not a real.
That's not a real thing.
It was a da 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 da. A fanfare.
Yeah,
kind of ring.
Not Monty Python. Circus music. Though.
Yeah, very festive. When somebody calls you, they can't normally change the ringtone that they want their call to ring as.
But it's very clear in the movie that he didn't choose this ringtone. It just showed up.
This is the ringtone that they use.
Yeah. So the phone rings again. Swallow the fly you just killed for $3,622. And the fly goes away very quickly.
It does.
And the money flows in.
Mm-hmm.
All he has to do is complete 13 challenges, and he's already done 2.
And the announcer guy is great.
He's
just so upbeat.
And this is George Coe, a very old actor in his final role.
Yeah, and he gets more and more evil as it goes along.
He did the voice of the butler on Archer.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was... Yeah. I don't remember his name right now.
He's got a really good voice for audio
Woodhull
work.
Or something?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's very good at it.
Yeah.
So anyway, each of these 13 challenges will give him greater amounts of money, but he can't tell anyone about the game.
And if he backs off and doesn't complete a challenge, he loses all the money he's won so far.
The man on the phone says the previous winner got $6.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
For $5,000, go make a child cry. For $10,000, burn down the church's nativity scene.
Which he does. He takes the nativity scene, and it's got some dark comedy in it too, because he takes the nativity scene off the rectory. Nobody's watching, so it's made out of corn husks. It's really flammable. He takes it out to the courtyard, sets it on fire. The fire starts spreading. Hot embers blow into the office, and
church is gone.
The church is on fire. He goes back inside where his girlfriend and father are. Well, that sounds like the fire alarm. We should go. I don't know what's happening.
Trade this ostrich for a homeless man's clothes, and so on.
Yeah.
And he has the ostrich.
Somehow he gets a... Yeah.
And it just gets crazier from there until the police start hearing about Elliot's antics.
Yeah, because he starts doing stuff that's so illegal. Yeah. Well, arson at the church.
Arson and scaring kids.
Yeah. The mother was really pissed off at the park about making the kid cry.
Before the night is over, he's running red lights with a smile on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just possible that Elliot likes this game?
Well, and that's kind of implied why they're doing this game. They like to change people.
People who would never do these things are doing them.
And they see if they can change them. And apparently they've been doing it for hundreds of years.
The opening credit shows the maps and the years. They've been doing it like since the 1600s. So this
way
is
before
a
cell
long-term
phones.
thing.
Yeah. It's like the 1% of the 1% has this secret.
And then Ron Perlman is the chief detective who's chasing after him and trying to track him down.
Yeah.
He listens to all the complaints and tracks down this reporter who is understanding what's going on with the game.
Yeah.
And he's got all these, the crazy wall where he's piecing
You'd think
it together.
he's a conspiracy theorist, but in this case he's right. Yeah. And
Conspiracy theorists are always right in movies.
Well, in this case he is, yeah.
Well, this isn't the first movie to do this kind of plot, but it does have a few nice twists to it.
It does. I was impressed with the twists on how they handle that. I didn't see the one twist. And
there's like 3 or 4 different twists at the end.
Wow!
It's like it's this, no, it's that, it's this other.
It's that person. Oh, okay.
It's got a good build-up of suspense, but you kind of know where it's going. Especially when it's revealed that there's a second player out there. Mm-hmm. Even then, there's always just one more twist on top of the last twist.
Then it kind of becomes a race between Elliot and this other one. And Elliot's starting to regret, but this other one, the other player is doing stuff, and it's like, and Elliot's like...
At one point, the cops catch him, and they say, you did all these things, and he hadn't done about half of them.
well, and that's, and why'd you do that? Why'd you push the lady down the stairs? I didn't do that. And he gets in so deep that he's done these things that are illegal, and he's in
a
trouble.
lot of it's illegal.
And the voice on the phone says, well, if you complete the 13 tasks, all these will go away. If you don't, you're going to prison. So
no money and prison is kind of an incentive to keep up the game.
Just think of it as the incentive of having a gun at your head. The guy is so cheerful as he's doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that final challenge is totally awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Very big thumbs up for me.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to go...
8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, 8. Yeah. Not the best movie we've seen, but it's maybe the best for this week.
Mm-hmm. Do you smell something?
Did you fart?
Something sulfuric. It smells like rotten eggs.
Yeah, that's a fart. No, it's not. It's our short for the week.
It's called Sulfuric.
Okay. Sulfuric, 2019.
Not that it actually stunk, but she comes home saying, "What's that smell? Smells like rotten eggs."
Directed by Jeff Brown, written by Jeff Brown, starring Tyler McLean and Irene Longshore. Have a link to YouTube in the show notes.
What, about 9 minutes?
Yeah, about that.
Mm-hmm.
A girl comes home from a long trip. You can tell because she's got her suitcase with her.
Mm-hmm.
She smells rotten eggs. Sarah, are you okay? Sarah is not okay.
She's all curled up, sick appears to be unconscious on the couch. And signs of sickness. There's medications of all kinds, over-the-counter stuff on the table, and soups and empty juice bottles. And, she's been sick for a while.
Props.
Yeah, Kleenexes. And,
So she calls 911.
Because she won't wake up.
Yeah. During the call, Sarah sits up, but she won't talk. She doesn't want an ambulance.
No, she does.
It's going to take 45 minutes, which, here in Flint, that's even worse than our response times.
Mm.
She calls 911. She gets a bath ready for Sarah. Sarah says she wants to take a bath. And while Jennifer's in there getting the bath ready, she noticed a pulsating glob of goo in the bathroom. Like she puked in the trash can or something, and it's bloop,
it's
bloop.
pulsing. Yeah, that's not normal.
Not what you want when you barf something up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sarah is having convulsions in the next room. When Jennifer comes out of the bathroom, Sarah is now 10 feet tall and has black eyes. Rawr! What'd you think?
I like that.
That's it?
It was good.
Okay, I'm kind of middle of the road on this one.
Okay.
There's no explanation of what's going on, and we don't even know if it's an actual disease, demon possession, or maybe just bad takeout.
Or why it happened to her. Or, there's questions.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, but these things happen.
It looked good. It was well shot. The acting was fine. But again, nothing is explained. So if you don't like just, a scary scene with no story behind it.
And then what happened next?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't know.
Okay. Decent enough, but not a great story.
Yeah. Things happen.
Things happened in Trench 11, too.
They did. A film from 2017.
Yeah.
Yes.
2017, directed by Leo Sherman, written by Matt Bowie, and stars Rossif,
I think.
starring Mr. Sutherland, Robert Stadlober, and Charlie Carrick. 1 hour, 31 minutes.
Starts out in the Western Front in France in 1918.
World War I. Mm-hmm. Two men are looking for something in a strange bunker, 78 feet, precisely 78 feet underground.
They tell us this.
There's an explosion, the man is buried, and the credits roll. Well, after the credits, we hear that the Germans are digging a very deep... It's a meeting at Allied headquarters. Mm-hmm. We hear that the Germans have been seen digging a very deep bunker, 100 feet deep, well behind the enemy lines, which is suspicious to the Allies. Why would it be so far away?
Yeah, why would they build this complex so far away from the front, where the fighting's going?
The project is known to be headed by Reiner, a scientist who is known to be developing new biological weapons.
Mm-hmm.
The British don't know specifically what they're doing in Trench 11, but it's nothing good.
So, let's go investigate it.
We hear that the pre-credit guys were an exploratory mission that has gone missing. Okay. So, new mission, we got to go find out what's in Trench 11. They forcibly recruit Lieutenant Burton, an expert tunneler, to help.
That was Lieutenant Burton in the opening scene.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, that was the one where he got out and took 12 days. Or
yeah.
Okay, that's part of the story later.
He was, part of the story later. He was trapped underground for 12 days. He was the only survivor. He tunneled his way out by hand, basically like a big old mole, I guess, and survived. Made it out after 12 days.
The 6-man party heads into the woods to solve the mystery. We get to know the men just enough to tell them apart. There's the digger, the major, the doctor, the bald super soldier, the hillbilly, and the young guy.
The hillbilly and the young
stereotypes
guy
are covered.
Also, American soldiers. The three guys. There's 3 American soldiers, 2 British officers, and the Canadian tunnel expert.
See, it's really clear who's who. They may as well have had their names on their shirts like an alien.
Yeah.
I am the hillbilly. Yeah. I am the young guy. I'm the tunneler.
I am the gung-ho soldier guy.
Yeah. They're all very clearly stereotypes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Germans are talking about how they need to cover up what happened at the bunker. But they say it's a good thing that at least none of them got out.
None of them.
Even the Germans are shocked at what went on down there. They killed all the troops that had been stationed there that witnessed what occurred. Still, that last charge didn't detonate, and they need to make real sure all the evidence has been destroyed.
And Reiner, the scientist, is like, I want this stuff. I want these, I want these things. This is my work. And they're like, no souvenirs. You're going there to destroy it. And
so now there are British and German troops heading toward the trench.
Uh-huh.
The Brits then find a German
A German what?
The Brits then find a German soldier unconscious. They wake him up and he screams, "Don't open the door or we all die."
This is like in the pre-tunnel before the main complex.
Yeah,
There's
they have it all sealed up.
Steel door that's been boarded over. And of course they're prying the boards off to get inside. And he's like, 999. that doesn't work out.
No. Don't open the door or we all die. So they killed the German and opened the door.
Good graphic body effects, gore effects from the shooting.
Oh, yeah, the back of the head.
Yeah.
All over,
Yeah.
Then they run into another German who grabs a grenade and causes a cave-in, apparently trapping them all inside.
Oops.
This guy, however, he pukes all over the young guy the hillbilly.
Snot.
Which one?
The hillbilly.
The hillbilly, yeah.
Snotty, mucusy.
And then he grabs one of the grenades, runs down the hall, pulls the pin, and boom, causes a cave-in, trapping them all inside.
Mm-hmm. Time for look for another way out, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
turns out the complex is huge.
Very huge,
Yeah.
They don't want to make any foolish mistakes, so they
Yeah.
they split up.
We'll have to be careful. Let's split up the party. Always a good idea in horror movies. Yeah.
One group finds a hospital area with cuffs for tying patients down.
Not a good sign.
Never a good sign in the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, they're attacked by crazy men.
Mm-hmm.
They shoot one, and then notice white string or a worm or something crawl back inside the body.
They
Just
don't
a little
like
bit of
light.
string goes back in.
It starts crawling out, and they shine the light on it, and it crawls back in.
They cut him open, and he's full of living angel hair pasta.
That's what it looked like.
Okay, it's actually a parasitic worm, but humans shouldn't be able to be infected with worms this badly. The worms are affecting their brains, and the doctor says this was an engineered weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Before long, the Brits and the Germans have to work together to survive.
Yeah, the Germans show up. They turn the lights back on. Reiner is with them. Takes over. Yeah.
Will it be enough? What about Reiner, who only wants to continue his work?
He's like a pre-evil Nazi. It's World War I, so he's not a Nazi, but...
Picture any Nazi mad scientist you've ever seen
in
30 years too soon.
Well, not
25 years.
But,
Okay.
Yeah, but he's he's out of time. He's in the wrong war.
My work will change the war.
Yeah.
All right, what the heck is the deal with British people saying lieutenant?
I don't know.
There's no F
There's
in the
no
word.
F in it, but they say it. Yeah.
Lieutenant.
They say-
Lieutenant Burton.
No, they say aluminium too. And that's kind of
Aluminium.
Yep.
There's no I in there. There's only one I in there.
Mm-hmm.
What were we talking about a little while ago? Goth.
Yeah. Goth.
Dr. Goth.
Dr. Goth.
With the AR in there.
Yeah.
Pronunciations.
Yeah.
The setting is really low budget. Room after room of wooden walls.
It's like a haunted house. Imagine a haunted house with corridors and you don't know what's around the next corner.
Narrow, dark corridors. The roof and the floor is black. All you can see is the wooden
Initially, all
walls.
they have is flashlights before the Germans
And of course
show
it's
up
a
and turn on the
maze.
lights. And yeah, it is a maze. with
Even when
many
they turn
rooms
lights on,
and-
it doesn't
yeah.
help much.
And around the next corner, there might be a crazy infected German guy who's going to go, rah, just like a haunted house.
Castle Wolfenstein.
Except these will try to eat your face and try to stab you because they're crazy. And yeah.
It looks like room after room of wooden walls. It looks like they bought a bunch of privacy fence segments and made hallways out of it. Really low budget.
But just imagine the work that would have went into tunneling all that. I mean, if it was real, tunneling all that out and lining all that with wood, that's a heck of a lot of work. As big as the place was.
Yeah. There is some really good medical gore when the doctor autopsies the dead German.
Yes.
He cuts him open with the rib spreader and reaches down
And
inside.
it looks really realistic.
It does look good,
And the gunshot stuff looks really realistic. There's multiple people getting shot up and graphically.
The acting is fair to decent, but not great.
I thought it was pretty good.
Reiner was way over the top. A stereotypical Nazi mad scientist in a period before they had Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds familiar.
Pre-Nazi, yeah.
And this is a pretty decent by-the-numbers, German scientists in a bunker performing bad experiments gone awry kind of movie. But there's not much new here, really.
No, there wasn't. No, I thought it was decent. I was entertained.
There's no twists or shock. Everything you see coming a mile away.
Kind of formulaic, and, will everybody survive? Well, you don't know until it happens. And one guy does, kinda, but he's probably not gonna, it's winter outside, and he's wounded, and, he doesn't have a coat or gloves.
But he had hope. Hope is all that matters.
He had a German love. Yeah. Hope probably wasn't enough in this case. Yeah. But anyway, overall thumbs up. I'd say a 6 or 7 that I would give it overall because it was pretty well made, I thought, and I was entertained. I was not bored at any point.
I was not bored. It was not good though. I'm gonna go with a 5, about neutral.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible.
I'm
It wasn't
go with
great.
a solid 7.5 then, just for that.
All right.
Wait till you hear what our difference is on The Rift, our next movie.
I bet we're not that different. The Rift, 2016, also known as The Dark Side of the Moon. It was originally
not
released.
known as The Dark Side of the Moon. It was?
Yeah, the original release, Dark Side of the Moon.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that title was already taken. There's another movie
Yeah.
called Dark Side of the Moon.
Probably why they
that I
decided
really
to call
like.
it The Rift.
That's a kind of a little obscure science fiction one, that science fiction horror.
Director, Dejan Zečević. Writers, Barry Keating and Milan Knežević.
It's a Serbian-made
Serbian,
film.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Stars Ken Foree, Katarina Kass, and Monty Markham. Hour and 30 minutes. And this is apparently a dispute between the two of us about what makes up a international movie.
International means not made in the United States. We are here in the United States.
Trench 11 was in Canada. We didn't call that a foreign movie.
Technically it is.
It was
English films are foreign films. Australian films, they speak English, sure, but it's a foreign film.
No.
Uh-huh.
I think in the future our international segment will be foreign language films.
He's a purist who thinks only if they're not speaking English, that means it's a foreign film. No, well, what if it's an Asian film that they set it in the United States and speak English?
Most of Game of Thrones was filmed in Europe. Does that make it a foreign film?
No, because it was an American production company. And this is a Serbian production company that made this, even though they're all speaking English.
More or less. We'll
And
talk
it's
about that too.
Filmed in Europe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is our pseudo-international film.
It's an international film.
It's an English film.
They're speaking English for our benefit.
Somewhat.
Mostly. They had a few Serbian bits with subtitles.
A few, yeah. Well, we'll see in the future.
Yeah.
In a hospital in Seattle, a woman, Liz, goes into the ICU to visit a very sick little boy who dies. The woman wakes up, and what we saw actually happened in the past, and this was just now her dream.
Mm-hmm.
She's a CIA agent, an encryption specialist, and she's just been reactivated after 2 years off after the death of her son.
She's going to be paired up with John Smith, Agent John Smith.
And
she's like,
he explains
sure.
like 4 or 5 times that's his real name.
Sure it is, yeah. No, it's not a pseudonym.
So Agent Smith explains that they lost contact with a special satellite that crashed in Serbia. There's a tracking device on the satellite, and their job is to recover the satellite.
$1 billion secret top spy satellite of some kind that's got data maybe that might have survived, and they want it. So.
They're taking along Dr. Dysart, a former astronaut and now professor of astronomy.
Astrophysicist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He brings along his assistant, who turns out to actually be a Serbian agent. The 4 of them all meet up in a deserted factory for some reason.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird pickup point.
We'll meet you at the trashed, burned
Liz
down
and
old
Agent
factory.
Smith pick up the professor and Darko. Darko's the Serbian assistant.
Yeah.
It's out in the middle of nowhere.
This is not a secret clandestine mission. They're driving in a car with maps.
They could have met anywhere. Downtown,
Meet you at Denny's down the road.
Yeah. That was a weird point. I don't know why.
I'm always hanging out for, people that I'm meeting up with in the abandoned factory. Aren't you?
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody that. Before long, they're all wandering around the Serbian countryside in the dark.
Yeah, they drive as far as they can, then set off on foot to follow
the road goes this
signal.
way. The satellite's coming out that way.
The signals are coming from that way. Let's head out, and it's not that far of a walk.
No. They spot a strange, quiet boy in a white suit who doesn't speak. Then they come up to a big old house, and the Serbian guy knocks on the door and gets shot in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise!
Yeah, and they can't find the satellite. They have found the signal. And no sign of any satellite or wreckage.
Signals coming from inside the house.
Sadly, yeah. Well, maybe they took it inside. Maybe they found it and took it in with them.
Yeah.
Something. So.
In the basement, they find a spacesuit and a woman acting strangely, muttering in Serbian. The old woman goes crazy and attacks Liz with an axe, so Liz shoots her.
Mm-hmm.
The signal they've been following is the spacesuit. There is no satellite. There's no shuttle wreckage, so where did this guy come from?
And why is he giving off the signal that they were expecting? And so then they get on the professor's case. Like, why did you lie to us? You told us it was this. Where's the satellite? And,
I didn't lie.
And they bring the professor to see the astronaut.
The professor gets upset because the spaceman has been missing for 35 years. They were all on a classified mission to the dark
Dark
side of the moon
Far
in
side of the moon.
1976.
It's not really dark, you know. It's just the far side of the moon.
Too much science.
Too much science. The dark side of the moon is not dark. It's as light as the front side. We just never see it.
It's true. Hamlin just disappeared there, so they came back without him. There was this rift, and he walked to it and went in, and the rift closed, and boom, he's gone.
Some really nice flashback of him on the moon.
Yeah,
that was really
put some budget
effectively
into
done.
that,
Yeah, really realistic looking. Yeah, some kind of purple portal that he...
A purple people portal.
Yeah, people. And he reached into it, and it pulled him right through.
Yeah.
And he vanished. And then the portal closed.
Is it a portal through time and space? It looks that way.
Yeah.
Liz goes outside looking for the strange boy and finds him laying in a coffin in the cemetery. The cemetery and the headstone, it's clearly that he's dead. So maybe that's why he was acting strange.
Yeah.
The rift appears to her, and she can see the surface of the moon on the other side. As she steps
and at that point, I was thinking that would be a bad thing to step through and appear on the moon.
Suddenly, you're on the moon.
You don't want to do that without a spacesuit.
There's an astronaut on the other side of the rift who reaches through and grabs her chain and pulls it off.
Yeah, she's wearing a crucifix. It's very distinctive. That was a heirloom.
Yeah. As she comes back inside, she talks to the Serbian agent, who isn't nearly as dead as he was a few minutes ago.
Well, he was unconscious and pretty much dead. You know, they thought he was a goner.
He died off screen.
But he's up and on his feet and talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then the old lady gets back up and attacks Agent Smith, who shoots her a few more times.
And she was dead.
Clearly.
Yeah, definitively. They knew she killed so something's going on raising the dead.
Well, it seems like the dead are all getting back up. The second they walk out of the room, the spacesuit sits up. Then there's a half an hour of talking and yelling.
Oh, and the spacesuit has a opaque metallic, reflective.
The visor is black. You can't see the guy inside.
Yeah, it's a sun.
They're not even totally sure there is a guy inside it.
Oh, and they try opening they've had enough. He's not responding. There's clearly a person in the suit because it's not deflated or collapsed, but he's not responding to anything, and they can't open the suit. They try getting it in, raising the visor, and it's impregnable.
Yeah.
So something weird's going on there.
At one point, Smith has his gun out. He's getting ready to
But the professor
recognizes
the suit and the armband. Yeah. The guy's clearly wearing the badge with his name on it.
Hamlin from 35 years ago,
Yeah.
Smith's ready to smash the thing open with his gun or shoot it or something, and the old lady attacks, and they shoot the old lady. Again. And then they just walk away and don't bother with the suit anymore. They just kind of got distracted and forgot about it.
Well, they got distracted, yeah. Well, then it gets weirder.
There's about an hour, there's a half an hour of talking and yelling where not much happens until Dr. Dysart decides to shoot himself in the head, believing he'll come back healthier.
Well, before that, an interesting thing happens, though, with the crucifix.
Well, yeah, he explains that when he was on the moon...
He went back, after the guy disappeared, they went back to their capsule, and Apollo wanted him to come back, NASA. And he went out one more time, and the portal was back again. And he approached it, and he says that he saw the vague image of a woman on the other side, and he reached through and he grabbed a crucifix that he has been wearing for the last 35 years. And it was her crucifix that the astronaut through the portal just pulled off her neck like minutes before.
So he reached through from the past, grabbed her
It's a space and time portal.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally.
Yeah.
So anyway, Dr. Dysart decides he's sick. He's got, I don't know, lung cancer or something. He's coughing up blood.
Yeah, they never say, but it's bad.
And he doesn't want to die right now, so he shoots himself in the head.
Well, he sees that the dead aren't dying.
Yeah.
And he wants to go out his own way.
Okay.
And,
the other guys got shot and came back.
Yeah, well, he thinks that he will without,
Yeah.
It's a little unclear why he does, but...
Maybe the budget ran out. They couldn't afford him anymore. About this time, Agent Smith goes berserk and starts cutting off heads of the dead. The dead just will not stay down.
But they do seem to once you cut their heads off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suddenly, they're all in another abandoned factory instead of the farmhouse, and Smith is hunting down Liz and the kid in the white suit.
Mm-hmm.
He catches them, and they all die. Then there's something about Liz's son who died 2 years ago, except for some reason now he didn't.
You didn't get the full appreciation of that.
You're right, I didn't. What?
Well, the thing, whatever it wasn't really the astronaut anymore.
Right.
Whatever
right.
happened to him going through the portal. He's got whatever it is, can manipulate time and space.
Mm-hmm.
Went back, appeared in the hospital room when the boy was flatlining.
Yeah.
Brought the boy back to life because it can change. There's a line that the reanimated people say that death is dead.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't like death and says basically there's not going to be any more death. Anyway, the astronaut appears in the hospital room back in time when the boy died, brings him back. She wakes up. He vanishes in a purple poof, and the boy's fine.
Okay. So then they all live happily for the next 2 years
changed.
until she dies and he becomes an orphan.
And then the timeline changed. No, she didn't die because that whole thing never happened then. The timeline moved forward for her and them. Yeah.
All right.
And then
And then the astronaut starts appearing in big
news.
cities all over the world. It's a
Yeah.
religious sign, and there was
because
rioting.
and the dead have stopped dying and are coming back.
There's rioting.
Yeah.
The reporters are going crazy, and Agent Smith, for some reason, is now the president, and all the dead are coming back to life, and then it ends.
He's not the president. He was just a spokesman on TV.
For what? It looked to me like he was
CIA.
deep spread.
No, he was CIA. No, he was still.
If the dead start coming back to life, I'm not going to be asking the CIA about it. I want to hear what the president's got to say.
Well, he probably got in the mix too, but no, Smith appeared on the television.
He's not
just
dead,
as
and
a
he's somebody
spokesman.
important now.
Yeah. Because that thing didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
The astronaut went back and changed the timeline, and then that moved forward.
I think
there.
I like it less with
And
your
then-
explanation. There's lots of large abandoned buildings and ruins in Serbia, and I think we visited half of them in this film. Katerina Kass's accent is way too hard to understand to be the leading lady in an English-speaking movie. There were several points I couldn't even tell what she was talking about.
I didn't have a problem with
Well,
her
I
accent.
did. Yeah, she was thick accent. Why spend half the movie talking to a spacesuit that very well could have been empty? At the end, the helicopters fly in for an evac. Why they didn't just go in helicopters in the first place?
Because it was a
low
low profile,
profile, yeah.
low budget mission. They thought they'd just go in, recover the satellite, and leave. They didn't think it'd be a big deal.
Because they don't have helicopters in Serbia?
They didn't need them. That would have been indiscreet, and they didn't need it. This was an emergency backup, was bringing in the helicopters.
Now, why does the astronaut suit just appear in places like it was in the 2001 movie? Well, we get that
We
at the
don't
end.
know, because it was some sort of alien thing beyond our
Why are
comprehension.
the dead rising? Why is there a portal from the moon? And why did any of this happen? Well, I don't know, because this movie made no sense. I like movies with time loops. I like movies with time distortions. I like movies with paradoxes and time travel and alternate timelines. This was dumb.
This didn't get very good reviews, and he's one of them. I, on the other hand,
I like the portal
was
from
so
the moon
pleasantly
thing.
surprised
I
by
like
how
the
much
portal
I
from the
enjoyed
moon
it.
to Serbia, back and forth through time. That's kind of cool. They could have done something with that.
They did.
But they didn't. They made a zombie movie.
They made some with it.
No.
I was so pleasantly surprised because the reviews were so bad.
Yeah, they still
and
are.
I thought, oh, it's going to stink. And I liked it. I thought it was interesting and touching, and I liked it. And mysterious. And I
3 out of 10.
give it an 8.
And this is why you're here. You might like this movie, you might not.
You should watch this for yourself and decide which of us is right. Or
Post in the comments somewhere. Who's
or
right
are
on
you
this
somewhere
one.
in between? But yeah, well, part of it was the pleasantly surprised because I was expecting a stinky movie, and it fascinated me, and it kept getting more interesting. Yeah, and you don't know the answers. What was this alien entity? You didn't like death, so it was like nobody on Earth ever going to die again, and and what would that do for society? And it was causing. You could see from the news clips, it was causing all kinds of chaos and riots, and
Yeah,
it was
definitely a major big event.
yeah, and they were trying to. The military was trying to. There was the one clip you notice. There was a full military around, and they were trying to bring him down. and just everything was just bouncing off. So whatever, was impregnable, immune to weapons, and
But technically, as far as we know, this was Mr. Hamlin on the moon, an astronaut, who went through this thing.
But he didn't come
Went
out
to
as
the
Mr.
future
Hamlin.
in 35 years, because the amulet went through 35 years into the past. So why did he change?
I think maybe it was just a alien entity that was using his form. Maybe.
Why?
We don't know. We don't know why. That's the fun. That's the mystery of it.
Dumb.
It was not dumb. It was cool.
And that's our show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Stop in during the week at horrorguys.com for news and horror updates, to comment on this podcast, or to contact us. Now, get ready for next week, because we'll be watching the Universal Studio monster flick Night Key from 1937.
I had never even heard of that movie.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. We'll find out.
Maybe there's a reason nobody's heard of it.
The contemporary classic Survival of the Dead from 2009. Zombies again.
Ties in with the Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Romero timeline kind of thing. It's something to do with
Night of the Living Dead.
It's not one of his movies,
Dawn of the
but
Dead,
it's a spin-off.
Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead. And yes, I think it is one of his movies.
Oh, it is one
I think
of his.
It is official.
Oh, official. Okay.
We'll confirm that next week.
We'll
but
tell
I think
you next
it is.
week. Yeah.
And that one's from 2009. The very new movie, The Girl with All the Gifts, from 2016. And our international feature, Audition, which will have subtitles.
It's not in English.
From 1999.
I have seen that one, but it's so good I'm looking forward to seeing it again.
Okay, I have not.
Truly creepy movie.
Give those a watch this week and see if your opinion matches ours. Check out our Twitter feed at Horror Bulletin, and find our group Horror Guys Podcast on Facebook.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we have our Patreon page at patreon.com/horrorguys. I'm Brian.
I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.